we're excited. We're starting the 100th season of Aztec football. And with that, this 100th team starts phase one of our preparation and our winter conditioning, our lifting and running, the mental toughness that we need to build as a football team is so important. Our goals are to win championships. We didn't achieve that, but right now, this 100th team, our goal is to win 22. They've worked very hard. We've worked hard as a staff in the recruiting part of it, and your recruiting is your lifeblood in college football. I think there's been a ton of changes within college football. Obviously, when you look at the portal and you look at the NIL, all those things that go along with it, I think we put a nice class together. We used the portal, which we felt we had to and was in our best interest. But at the same time, as we move forward, because we still have some options out there, we'll probably use the portal again at some point. I want to, very proud with the 2021 team and the 12 wins, the Frisco Bowl championship. End of the year, AP 25, so ranked 25th. Really excited about that team, but as you know, we got to go forward. Really think our coaches have done a great job and will continue when you look at developing young men and what we want to do as far as finish the recruiting, because we do have some options still.
Thanks for that, Coach. We'll start with Andre.
Hey, Coach. Happy New Year. You mentioned winter conditioning. Does the school's current online-only protocols impact winter conditioning and potential start of spring camp?
No, we're in a good spot, so that is not going to be a factor for us. And we've moved back 1 week with spring football, so that moved everything back a week. So we should be in good shape.
And today you guys announced 5 transfers into the team, 2 of which are brothers of current seniors who also elected to come back for Super Senior. How much of a big part of the recruiting effort for those 2 guys was the fact that their brothers were also coming back for one more year?
Well, I think that was huge. When Caden told us that he wanted to come back and that his brother was looking to leave Washington, obviously we were very excited about it. Then when Jonah said the same thing about Justice, it's exciting. I got to play with my brother at Ball State, which was kind of cool. But I think it's really cool that these 2 group of brothers will be able to play together.
And is there a final list of the seniors who have elected to come back another season? Is that something that will be released shortly?
Yeah, we'll release that probably by the end of the week.
And then last question for me, given that this is the second year of the COVID super senior eligibility, but the 85 scholarship limit is back, was that a difficult thing for the coaching staff to maneuver, having discussions with players that may have wanted to come back, but there was no scholarship available for them?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's no doubt. And the pandemic obviously is something that we'll all never forget, but it's even, and believe me, people dying are a heck of a lot more important than what we're doing. But, when you get down to trying to get your numbers right, and, you got a guy who you'd love to have back or just don't have room for, that you gotta let go. And so, yeah, it's hard. And, our guys have handled it well. We've lost some guys, but at the same part, we've got some young guys who we're really excited about.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Andre.
Next up, we'll go to Brandon.
Greetings, Coach. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Brandon.
I like how it looks like you have a winter scarf with your head covering there.
Oh, sure.
You mentioned trying to find that you still had some transfer looks left, some spots left maybe. Would quarterback be one of those spots?
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know, we want to – the guys that we want in this program are the guys that, number one, can move us forward, we feel, and secondly, the culture that we have as a program and the guys that we like within the program. So there's no doubt if there was a guy out there, we would definitely try and do our best to get him.
And since we're talking transfer portal, it means experience would be a requirement?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that, you know, and look, with Jalen and Will and the two young guys that we've signed, you know, we feel really good about all four of those guys. But I think at the same time, if we can help ourselves as a football team, we're going to try and do that. And if it's not a quarterback, Brandon, it could be a corner. It could be another defensive end. You know, and I really believe, you know, when you look at college football, when you look at pro football, you know, the quarterback and a defensive line is, my opinion, the two places on your team that you've got to really got to be really good at.
All right. We'll leave that there. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Next up, we'll go to Jake.
Hey, Coach, what were your initial thoughts on the rule changes in college football when you first heard about the transfer portal and NIL? And now that you've kind of gotten a chance to get your feet wet in there, has it changed at all? And what do you think about it now?
I hate it. I'll be real honest with you. I think the transfer portal, and yes, I do think there's some things that we need to continue to grow within you know, the rules a little bit, for the kids a little bit. But that and the NIL at the same time, I mean, look, I can't imagine, and I don't know, and I'm not going to, you know, be the guy who's going to complain about it, but there's some schools that are really, the NILs are pretty damn good.
Do you feel that this is further separated maybe the bigger name schools from the smaller schools in this situation?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you, Jake. Go ahead, Kirk.
Hey, Coach. First off, I wanted to ask, do you have a date yet for when spring football starts? Or
I do. Dagon, I don't have it with me. I do. It's a month before spring break, whenever that is, okay? But we'll get – it's really the end of February, the first of March.
I'm looking.
So I'll get that to you.
28th.
Yeah, the 28th. February 28th.
And in talking about transfer portal and possibly getting a quarterback, would you still imagine to get someone in who could be here for spring football?
You would love to. Would love to.
I think I heard you talk last week on the radio about you thought you might have something to say within the next week or so, week to 2 weeks. Do you have someone in the ready to go right now that maybe there's still paperwork to be done?
Well, yeah, I think so. I hope so. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Okay.
I appreciate it, though.
When you are trying to get transfers, I know all those other guys, they committed through social media and such. How long do you let a player go back and forth where you kind of have to know where things stand before you move on to something else?
Yeah, we're not going to – look, we're not going to wait around a whole lot. I mean, that's not who we are. We want guys who want to be here. We want guys who believe in San Diego State. You know, those are the guys we want. We want guys who understand the toughness that we have as a football team. And so, you know, when you ask that, yeah, we'll give a little bit of lead, but I'm not going to get in some sort of bidding war because of that's not who we are. We want guys who want to be here.
Do you ever feel like you're being played, like they're just waiting on something else? Somebody is waiting on something else?
I don't know. I don't know if I would want to say being played. I think that there's negotiations now that have not happened in years before.
Mm-hmm. And how long can someone go into the semester before they can still get in for the spring? 2 weeks?
Yeah, I shoot, Kirk. We're going to wait maybe another day. But what I can tell you is, we start classes. They picked up books yesterday. We're getting and going.
How crucial is it to have the transfer here for the spring? Is that, the most important thing?
I think it is. I think it is. I think in all positions, but particularly, a quarterback position. Again, I think the two positions on any football team, and this is my own thought process, is your quarterback and your D-line. I think your team will be as good as those two positions.
And Lucas and Jordan still have eligibility remaining. Why not keep them as part of the program?
Well, they made those decisions early.
Would you have liked to have had them back, though?
I don't know. I think both of them are outstanding young men, and I wish them both a lot of success.
Is that a situation where when guys are older, you know what you have in them, but you have young guys coming up who, there's more time for them to be part of the program, so that's where you kind of switch gears?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, next up we'll go to Todd Strain.
Hey, Brady, when you're talking to these players in the portal, hypothetically speaking, a quarterback, obviously quarterbacks are moving to teams where they think they will have a good shot of playing. How do you balance kind of recruiting players in the portal with yet saying it's going to be a competition against the players you have on your roster and yet attract those portal players because they want playing time?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I think very delicately, but I think you also have to be honest. I mean, we've got two young freshmen that we signed in this class, and we have Will Haskell, and we think all three of those guys are good football players, Now, are they ready as we think they should be, as ready? Maybe not. But we want those guys, obviously, to develop and see the competition level.
Hey, Brady, I'll take you off the quarterback hot seat here.
Okay.
Big picture question. Is there too much portal? Is it too much of a Wild West?
Yeah.
Hundreds, nearly 1,000 players transferring. I know what the NCAA wanted to happen with this, but has it gone too crazy in your opinion?
Well, they want the federal government to get involved with the NIL and all of it, and they're not going to. In the NCAA, I think what you're going to see happen is they're going to start putting some limits on how much portal there is, some dates that you have to be completely done with. A time limit and all that kind of stuff. That has to happen. And I know they're in some meetings in Indianapolis because I know Adela is there, and she sits as the chair for one of the committees. And after a conversation yesterday with her and JD, just talking about the different how college football has changed. I go back to when you used to take the letters of intent to the homes. I can remember being on a snowmobile in Fort Wayne, Indiana, because of a blizzard, delivering a letter of intent and getting it signed, getting off the snowmobile, going to a gas station to call the next kid's parents where I was going to their house, and my wife is having a baby. And so then I had the Indiana State Police taking me to the border to Michigan. So That's how I remember recruiting. This is crazy, but it is what it is. And I think, as we move forward, they're going to get through it. But I just think there's got to be some parameters, and, when that's going to happen, I don't know. But I know, I think everyone's probably as sick as I am, and maybe I'm just too old. Who knows?
Thank you for that wonderful answer. We're gonna have to ask for more time in sports tonight.
Yeah. All right, Todd.
Thank you, Todd. We'll go to Lee Hamilton.
Can we get photo validation of you on a snowmobile?
Well, Lee, I didn't know that the neighborhood was shut down. And there was 2 kids on snowmobiles. I couldn't drive my car down the street. It was a cul-de-sac. So I hop on a snowmobile to go sign a kid.
Chapter for your book.
Yeah.
Hey, the 2 high school quarterbacks you signed, are they on campus, and will they begin the off-season weight training, et cetera?
Yes, they're here. They're both here, and excited about both of them. Very competitive.
When Lucas came to you, and after all you invested to try to get him to the point he was as a contributor, and said he was opting out or wanted to go out, how hard was that on you, considering how well he played at the end and how much you invested to get him to this level?
Well, as you go through this, and we talked a little bit about, the portal years and all that, and we talked to each guy at the end of really into November as much as anything, and asked them what their plans were, and he had made a decision that he wanted to move on, and it was more, Lee, to be honest with you, not playing football, and I think obviously he did a nice job.
Is there any window for any of these guys to come back if they decide, like Kagan or one of those linemen, it's not the right thing, or have they separated themselves from the program?
Well, once we start the winter conditioning, that's your team, and this would be the 100th team, and that's your team.
And one other question. Can you talk about the transfer from Hawaii and the transfer from Tulsa? Are these guys bringing loads of experience with them?
Yeah, Devin, we watched his tape and really liked him. Good pass rusher, good edge guy, long arms, good get-offs. And then, Justice is Jonah's brother. He's the bigger version of Jonah. He's 6'3", physical, very tough. Really, it's been fun the last 2 years watching Hawaii because, I'd always tell Jonah that, his brother's a little better. So now we get to really see.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. We'll go to Darnay.
Was your wife in labor?
She was in the hospital, yes.
And which of the Michigan schools?
I'm sorry?
And was this a Western or at Michigan?
It was at Western Michigan.
And about how far were you going on the snowmobile?
Probably less than a mile. But it worked out. Yeah.
One question with regards to Will Haskell. What have the conversations been like with him, just in terms of the expectations for him this offseason moving forward, and obviously the opportunity now with guys like Lucas and Jordan?
I think it's been good. I think, I think, the one thing about Will, he's a very competitive-minded young man, and I love that about him. And he's continued to improve. He had to improve a little bit from an academic standpoint, which is always part of it, and he's done that. So I'm excited for where he's at.
Thank you, Brady.
Thanks, Darnay. Back to Kirk.
I don't know.
you talked about kind of the downside of the portal, but can you talk about the upside? And this kind of allows you to reload in some ways in some positions. And the 5 guys that you announced, how much can those guys bring immediate help to you guys?
Yeah, that's a great counterpoint, Kirk, to be honest with you. You know, you look at Justice Tavai and, Redmond, the tight end. You look at Caden's brother, Cooper. I mean, you got some guys who, Caden's brother started 11 football games at Washington. So he brings a load of experience, obviously. It's funny, both Jonah's brother and Cooper, they tower over their brothers that are here. So I think it's really fortunate to get in both of those guys.
And then on the quarterbacks coming back, Haskell you mentioned. What about Jalen? Is he back? And
Yep.
Has he figured the plan?
Well, he's going to compete and probably have a little bit more time to compete and go get the job. But I think with him and Will and Kyle and Leo, I think we've got a really good room. Would we want to take a guy with experience? Yeah, no doubt about it.
Other guys wondering about his wide receiver Elijah Cody. Is he coming back?
No, he is not.
Okay, and is that any reason in particular?
Not that I know of. He just wanted to move on with life.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Coach, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you, Jamie. Something happened there.
I was just going to say, what about Keyshawn Banks? What's his decision? Will he be back?
Oh, yeah. He's back, and Jonah's back. Really excited about those two. And, I told you guys already that I think having a defensive line is really something that you have to have if you're going to be a good football team. And, and I'm excited for Keyshawn. I'm excited because of where he's at right now from the standpoint mentally and physically getting ready to go and being a leader.